So, previous class, we were learning about legal aspects in retailing. In this, there are certain rules and regulations which has to be followed by the retail stores or the companies while they're doing business, which is very, very important to note. And for from your exam point of view, this legal aspects in retailing is also a very important part where they can ask you 14 marks as well as 6 marks, and it is the most repetitive question in your examinations. Okay, let's just go through the slide and understand. So, legislation governs the retail firm's operation and relations with its channel partners, because any retail store cannot work only with one product. So, they usually have suppliers, they will have many people who always help them in marketing, distribution. They will have employees, so human resource policies are important. So, all of this will be considered. So every part of the organization works hand in hand. So in that case, such legal restrictions will be put upon every company. Okay, its relation with suppliers. Now let's take for example Big Bazaar. Now Big Bazaar, when it is a retail store, retail outlet in Big Bazaar, they have to get lot of products. In those products, they have to have a good tie up with many of the companies. So that again suppliers plays a very major role. They are the heart and soul of retail markets or retail outlets. Then competitors. For Big Bazaar, who are the other competitors? Always surviving the competition will help the company grow better. If not, maybe they are stuck in one place. But with the help of competitors, by seeing the competitors' business, at least everybody has the urge to grow better. So that is the next point. That is the competitors. Then we have consumers. Consumers, without consumers, business will not go on. So consumers has to be there. A proper care has to be taken for the consumers, because without consumers coming into the store, the business will not happen. Then employees, people who work inside. If there are no helping people inside the store, so the consumers are confused what to buy and how to buy the products. So always employees also plays a major role. Now employees are not only helping staff, we also have office staff who has to look after the accounts, finance, marketing department, then who takes care of employees separately, the management part, decision making. All these are inclusive of employees. So again, certain rules regarding all of these people are to be followed. Then legal restrictions are imposed on practices concerning pricing, product, promotion, distribution, trademarks and HR policies. So there will be pricing of a product, which products at what price if you sell, people will buy. You cannot sell a Maggi noodles, small packet of Maggi noodles at 50 rupees or 100 rupees. It has to be ranged between 10 to 12 rupees or maximum 15 rupees, not more than that. So the dairy milk which you were getting before at 5 rupees, the quantity is being reduced now. So the pricing and the product both has to be checked, at what rate if we keep, the customers or the consumers will be able to buy the product. Then promotion, how do you market the product? Now if you take for example any product that they are selling, the ads or advertisements that will be put up on the television or social media for that matter, everything has to be attractive. It has to reach people easily. So very easy, simple promotional ads has to be created, not too complicated ads, because if you go on and explain too much of concept in the ads, people will not be interested to watch the advertisements. So promotion uh, plays a very major role. Then distribution part, once you promote the product, now everybody wants the product. Now when everybody wants the product, we should be in a position to make sure that the product reaches particular place. So if you are good at distribution, and if we make sure the product reaches the perfect place, then we can achieve good amount of success in the business. Then trademarks, if we have our own products. Now if you go out and buy in DMart, DMart has their own certain brands like D Homes, and they have Deep Premier. They have many other brands which can come up. Even if you go to Total Mall or more, they have their own grocery packaging. If you buy rice from more, they have their own more bags being given. So those are their particular trade uh, products where it will be registered. Okay, when once it is registered, only they become the trademarks, and also the logo of the company. Now, once you see the logo only, you will be able to identify the company in many cases. For example, to take, you can check Big Bazaar, Flipkart, Amazon, all this just by seeing the logo, you will be able to recognize the company. So trademarks, again, registered products plays lot of importance has been given to such trademarks. Then HR policies, employees must be taken care always. That is very, very important. So here policies are being framed for human resource to follow. Both employees has to follow, employee, employer both has to follow the rules, and also company should follow the rules and make sure everybody is happy in the company to work on. So that these are certain restrictions and regulations to be followed. Let us see these rules and regulations in detail in the further slides. Okay, so the next slide are the various objectives of framing various laws. Why are we framing these laws? Now we saw where all the laws will be utilized and how much is the coverage of the laws. Now let us understand why are we framing these laws. To protect the retail business from each other and to prevent unhealthy competition. Now simply one company cannot always grow and the other company is making loss all the time, so that is an unhealthy competition. So it is like introduction of some mafia or people who come out and um, suppress other businesses purposefully. So all these are unhealthy competition. So that is why if we make a common rule for every business, then in that scenario, everybody has to follow the rules and there will be a common platform for everybody to run their business. So that is the main objective of framing such laws. Then to protect consumers from unfair retail practices such as adulteration, fake advertisements, unfair profiteering. Now, this was happening before, and even now you can find these adulteration and fake advertisements. You can find lot of products being duplicated. If you happen to get one product, let's say for example you get one mobile phone. Now one mobile phone can be manufactured, a fake mobile phone can be manufactured just by giving the same name. So a lot of fake advertisements keep coming. You can find lot of fake advertisements in the televisions itself. Okay, in the televisions itself, talking about slim belt and eye cooling techniques. You just get a aloe vera band which cools your eyes. So you have a lot of fake advertisements given like that. And adulteration is where you will find lot of. Okay, so if you have problem in hearing my voice, is everybody able to hear my voice? Am I audible to everyone? Okay, Manasa, maybe that's a little network problem from the other side. Okay, if my voice is not clear, it might be a network problem from your side. There is no problem from this side here. Do not worry. Anyways, the recording will be put up on the YouTube for you to relearn things. Okay, let's continue. So, to protect the consumers from the fake products and mixed products, especially with food products, adulteration is, you would have heard about China rice, where they had the products mixed with plastic rice. The normal rice was mixed with plastic rice, and people named it as China rice. Okay, the same thing happened with cabbage also. There was plastic coating being mixed with cabbage. That was also a problem. And apart from all this, you can find wood powder in many of the uh, products. Maybe you can also find lot of stones in pepper, like these mixing of outside products which are harmful for human body into the food products is called adulteration. Okay, so these foreign particles will affect the human body a lot, which is not good. That is why many of them have malnutrition. Okay, they don't eat good variety of food, so they are not properly nourished. So that is the major problem. To protect consumers from all this problem, we are going to follow certain rules and regulations. Before, this was not strictly followed, and later government made certain very strict rules. Now it has come a lot into control. Some of the legal act prevailing in the retail sector. These are few examples. There are many more acts which will be used. Application of the acts is based on type of the store. Okay, if my store is very small or big, or I have more number of branches of the store, it depends on type of store which I am running and type of product which I am running, that the laws will be applicable. So let's see few of them. Karnataka Shop and Establishment Act 1961. Excuse me. Now, this Karnataka Shop and Establishment Act, whenever you start any shop inside Karnataka, this will be applicable to everybody. Okay. So this act has certain rules and regulations which has to be followed inside Karnataka. Now, BBMP for the Bangalore jurisdictions, complete Bangalore district, BBMP will take control and make sure everybody follow the rules. They pay taxes. They don't violate too much of rules and make profit, and they're not selling fake products, or they're not cheating the customers. All that is taken care of. Then Consumer Protection Act, this is applicable for whole of India. Okay, Consumer Protection Act, very important. Now in Consumer Protection Act, it says it is addressing both consumer as well as the retail industries. How can a consumer go out and complain about the uh, retail store or a person, whoever has cheated them? So at the end of the whole of Consumer Protection Act, it is only talking about how to protect yourself from the people out there who cheat you. Okay, we'll be learning a little introduction of this act later. Then Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, that is what we were talking about here. This adulteration part, mixing of foreign particles into the food product. Okay, so that must not happen. So that is why they came out with a complete act giving lot of rules and regulations. Even today, this food adulteration goes on, but in a very minute places, which is slowly coming out into light. Then Industrial Disputes Act. If your store is nearby any industry or industrial area, uh, and such sort, how you will have to apply the laws. Apart from that, how the retailers has to make sure to get the products from the manufacturer to their shop. So that is industrial disputes. Industrial Establishment Act, registration of the industries of the manufacturer or his company, all that has to be taken care of. So that is Industrial Establishment Act. Okay, so these are few of the legal acts which are there in the retail sector. There are many more acts which will be followed upon. So these are only few of the examples. Hope everybody understood the objectives of framing various laws. Anybody has doubt in these two slides? Can you all leave your messages in the chat? Okay, so everybody understood. Okay, thank you, students. Let's continue. Now, after seeing few of the legal acts here, let's learn the introduction of few acts for your information. The first one is Shops and Establishment Act. It's an act passed by state government. Karnataka Shops and Establishment Act was passed in 1961. So this only relates to Karnataka state, where they are talking about how to establish a shop in Karnataka, and this act was passed in the year 1961. It provides statutory obligation and rights to employees and employers in the unorganized sector of employment. Okay, this applies to unorganized sector where you do not know, you do not have a particular designation in your work. Okay, you just go there, work whatever work is being told to you, like a casual labor people. Okay, so they completely come into unorganized sector of employment. So to protect their rights, okay, protect the rights of employees as well as employers, they will be uh, following this Shops and Establishment Act. Then licenses are issued by local municipal corporation, and the application can be made only after operation of the shop commences. Now, first they have to start the shop or start the business, and then only apply for the license. So that is what they have given here. Licenses are issued by local municipal corporation. For us, local municipal corporation will be BBMP. So BBMP has to come and issue the license. So there will be certain procedures to be followed for the issuance of license also. You will have to put the application, pay the prescribed fee. They might come for checking the store. They have to check in and around the store, are you complying with all the rules and regulations which is given in the act. All that will be checked upon, and then only license will be given to them. So that is the point here of license, and the application can be made only after operation of the shop commences. You just have to start, and then you will have to get the license. But without license, you cannot run the shop for too long, because now the rules have become very strict. Of without license, nobody can run the shop. Then it requires the maintenance of register and records and display of notices. So you can observe this in every store, that they would have put up their registration record. Okay, they'll take a photocopy, or the original record only will be framed, and they'll put that up into every store. Especially in all medical stores, you can find them. So in why? Because just like that, anybody cannot start a medical store unless and until they have an experience in the medical field. It's not that they have to be a doctor, but pharmaceuticals are a little sensitive stores, so they have to have prior experience of working in the field. So that is why a maintenance of register and records must be there, and the display of the same registered certificate has to be put up in the store also, and the same will be maintained with the government department, that is Karnataka Shops and Establishment Department. Okay, so this is one of the act. Shops and Establishment is one of the act which is commonly applicable throughout Karnataka and for all the shops. So there is a common platform for all the Karnataka shops to work on, and no discrimination will be made here. So that is where nobody can take out the profit of the other person. So that is what they are trying to get by making this act compulsory. Okay, did you all understand this act? Shops and Establishment Act. Okay, let's go to the next act. Now the next act is Consumer Protection Act. Now Consumer Protection Act was given out in, or it was passed in 1946. Now in order to protect the consumers from malicious manufacturer, a supplier and retailer, all the three. Okay, this act was passed. So you can find lot of people selling pearls, ornaments, rings, all that they will sell. You can find lot of pearls even in the nearby bangle store. But how how definite are you those are the real pearls? Okay, those are not real pearls that have to be sold, because real pearls has certain variations. They will not be same. The color is very bright. It's very cool to look at. So all these features will be there. So this act always has one intention of protecting consumers from the fake products. Malicious manufacturers, suppliers, and retailers is they want to protect us from the fake products which is harmful for people. Okay, so that is the major objective of this act, and it was passed in 1946. Okay, the act requires the manufacturer to give detailed information. So if you see any product today, all this information which we are going to see below are compulsory to be given upon. Before, they were not giving these. Before 1946, these information were not there on the product, which means they can sell the product even after its expiry, or even after the product was not consumable. uh, take for example, they are selling ready-made idli batter. Now you get ready-made idli batter, dosa batter, and all. Now if they are selling those idli batter, dosa batter after 15 days, it is not in a consumable stage. Even though they add preservatives, it is not in a consumable stage. So if you do not know the expiry date or the best before date, then it is very difficult for us to buy the product. So what all are the compulsory information that has to be written? Let's see. Name and address of the manufacturer. So you can see the company name and complete address of the manufacturing place or the manufacturer. Now whichever is the registered address, that address will be given there. It will say manufactured at or manufactured in. You will have a complete address. Then net quantity of the package. Okay, complete how much is the quantity of the package that will be mentioned. Is it 500 gram, 250 gram, or 100 gram, 50 grams? Sometimes if it is oil, they will give you 1 liter, or in brackets they will give the liter and they say 1 kg. Okay, so like this you will have certain information provided. So that is net quantity of the package. If sold by number, contained in the packet should be displayed upon. You can see them with tea bags. If you buy tea bags, they say there are 25 tea bags, 15 tea bags, 10 tea bags. Or if you buy a biscuit, a pack of 10 biscuits, 6 biscuits, like this, if it is sold by a number, okay, then it will be given with that quantity. If it is sold by overall together as a kg, then direct grams or kg will be provided. Month and year of manufacture. When did they manufacture? If the manufacturing happened in January, they'll have to give the manufacturing month and year. But few products you can find the date also. Usually dairy products, milk, curd, paneer, cheese, all this you will have date, month, as well as year, because those have very short shelf life, maybe for 20 days, 15 days, 20 days, not more than that. So in that case, date, month, and year, all the three has to be mentioned. Then in case of food items, best before or expiry date. Not only in case of food items, but every item you can find expiry date, and it is compulsory for us also to check the expiry date and buy, because we have to understand for how many days are we using the product. If you are using within 2-3 days, then you'll have to, if not also, you have to check the expiry date and make sure you consume the product before this expiry date. Okay, so that is the major point here. And then MRP. Now this MRP is nothing but maximum retail price. So this is the maximum price where they can sell the product. They cannot sell the product below this or above this. They have to go through the MRP only. Now there was a little confusion during when GST was introduced. When GST was introduced, they told MRP plus GST. Okay, MRP plus GST was being charged on many products, but then government came up with a rule stating that the old products has to be sold at the price whatever is there on them. So MRP has to be fixed upon. The new products, the manufacturers must add GST and then send the products. So that was the rule which they got on a later part. So MRP is the ultimate price at which anybody can sell the product or buy the product. If they charge you more than that, less than that, it is not good. Okay, so this is a little introduction of Consumer Protection Act. They want to protect the consumer overall here from the fake products. Manufacturers or suppliers or retailers, none of them have to, none of them has a chance to cheat anybody here. So they have to be very careful. Okay, so this is the Consumer Protection Act. Any doubts in this slide? Please reply it in the chat if you have any doubts in this slide. Everybody understood? Okay. Thank you. Let's go to the next one. Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954. This is another basic act which everybody has to understand. Prevention of food adulteration license is issued by Regional Food and Drugs Administration Department, health officers, and it is valid for a period of 5 years. So once you take the license, it's only valid for 5 years. So once and who will issue the license? It is issued by Regional Food and Drugs Administration Department. So there's a separate department who will issue the license under this act. Now, before, what they used to do is the farmers used to sell the product in the market. Okay, there would be a big market where farmers will get all their crops and sell them in the market. Now, after the people buy, or after all these retailers buy the product, what they would do is they would mix up foreign particles. Maybe they would mix up wood powder, or they would mix up sand, stones into the food products. Now, why do they do that? So that the quantity of the product increases and they can make more profit. So that was the bad intention of all the people, all the retailers before. So then once they sell the product, this was not known to customers. So once they sell the product, customers used to buy the product and consume it. So many of them used to fall ill after consuming the products from certain particular shops. So government got to know about all this and they came out with a separate act called as Prevention of Food Adulteration. So they are preventing, they are stopping the mixing of foreign particles into food, which will be harmful for the human body. So that is why every 5 years they are going to renew the license after doing a thorough checkup on the products. Before that, they will not do it. So this is very, very important for every retailer to understand and get the license if it is a if they belong to this particular act, or if they are following it. Now, the license has to be, this is Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. PFA means Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. So Prevention of Food Adulteration license has to be obtained for each store, and separate licenses has to be obtained for sale like milk and milk products, baking items, eggs, frozen food, beverages, fast food, etc. Now, all of those shops, whichever you love, okay, all the fast food shops, whichever are there, so you will have to, all those shops must buy the license, or they must obtain the license of Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Under that, they have to get the license, and that license is valid for only 5 years. Now you can see lot of stores in the footpath or in the cart where they will be selling, which are not very hygienic. So that is also very dangerous for anybody to consume, because they might fall ill or they can get contaminated with lot of other diseases. So this cleanliness and food adulteration has to be, cleanliness is compulsory to be maintained and food adulteration has to be prevented, and especially with these products, because if you see these frozen food and milk products, bakery items, so use of a different oil or use of different water, all this will affect a lot of customers, which will affect not only for short term, but their health might affect for a very long term also. So that is why you will have to be careful when you're eating outside, especially with fast foods and bakery items, and any many other will be added, many other food items will be added to these lists, and all your favorite golgappas and panipuris are also coming to the same list. So be careful with all of that. Okay, so I hope everybody understood this slide, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Any doubt with this slide? Please leave your messages in the chat. Okay, so let's continue. Now, the next part is social issues in retailing, another very important point. Now, social issues in retailing, what happens with social issues in retailing, we will see. Now, this can be asked for 14 marks. Social issues in retailing, 14 marks as well as 6 marks. Both the questions will be uh, asked from this, and again the most repetitive question, so that's why I'm covering these topics first and then we will go to the other topics. Okay, so we'll just understand what are these. In recent years, the concept of social responsibility has entered into marketing literature as an alternative to marketing concept. Now, it's not only selling the product by advertising it, that is called marketing. Okay, you go out and make sure the product is sold by giving good information about the product. Now, in that good information, the good information may be true or may be false. You cannot clearly say everything that good information consists of can be true. So that is where social issues comes in, or social responsibility of a person comes in. So whatever advertisement we see on the TV or in the social media or any place, first we have to judge if it is right or wrong. So seeing the product, we would know. So it's a social responsibility of the company also to make sure they give the right information to the people. They should not give out false information and sell the product by hook or crook. So social responsibility plays a major role here. The society helps people to grow up in shapes their basic beliefs, values and norms. So every society has their own values. How we live in our state may not be same with the other states, or how we live in India, it may not be same with the other countries. So every society has its own rules and regulations. We have our values, we will believe in many things, we will ignore many things. So basic belief and values will be different, very very different it is. Okay, so that also plays a major role while you're selling the product. Then it is crucial for retailers to appreciate fully and cultural values of a society, especially when the organization is seeking to do business in a country that is quite different from its own. You can take an example of McDonald's and Burger King. Now, when they had to come to India, they cannot come with the hamburger concept, because in India we don't have not prefer to have in India. Indians did not prefer to have the hamburgers. Instead, they actually preferred meat burgers, but maybe with chicken or vegetables. Okay, so they had to change their concept based on the cultural values of Indian society. There is also a McDonald's in Gujarat which does not sell non-veg. Okay, so based on cultural society or cultural values of the society, you have to change a business little bit when you're coming to the particular place. Then many companies have sought to develop one product for a global market, and there are some evidence of firms achieving it. like Coca-Cola. That is one product. It's a global product. It has a global market. Pepsi also all belongs to you. From Coca-Cola company, you have many products coming out, from water bottles to cool drinks and normal fruit juice. You have so many things which are coming out, and they are successful also in the global market. So many companies will develop a product which is applicable throughout the world. So such things are not a problem. They can do the business in any country. Then there are innumerable pressure groups such as consumer activists, social workers, mass media, professional groups, and other who impose restrictions on marketing process, and its impact may be felt by retailers. Now, when they start up a new company in India, when they want to get that business into India, so they would be doing some marketing, or they would be showing some advertisements, giving out pamphlets, uh, doing marketing on radio, television, your social media. So you will have lot of people who would put pressure of not starting a business. So that would also happen. So there are many pressure groups like consumer activist, social workers, mass media, that is your television and news channel, and other professional groups who always oppose for certain things, because they think it is not good for Indian society to start such business. The same thing happens in other countries for certain products also, because their beliefs will be different than us. So those are social issues in retailing. So hope everybody understood a social responsibility is very, very important when you're marketing a product, and everybody appreciate if you keep in mind the cultural values, beliefs of the people, and sell your product. So that is what we are talking in social issues in retailing. Okay, did you all understand this slide? Any doubt in this? Okay, so everybody understood. Okay, so we'll stop the class here for today. Thank you, students.